So shall we start?
Yeah, sure.
Can you please tell me if I don't import java.lang package, what will happen? So in your code, I forgot to import the java.lang package. What will happen that time?
So basically, so Java.lang package has interfaces like comparator. So you won't be able to, create an instance of a comparator. Just for example. So
The thing is, java.lang is by default will be available. It is not mandatory to import that. But anyways, can you import the same package twice?
same package.
Yeah.
Same package we can't, but we can have a different. Sub package imported. Like let's say I import java.util.star, and I can also mention import java.util.array list or list as well. So that way we can do, but we can't write like import java.util.star two times.
Okay. So, what is the way to import only static members of a class?
Static members of a class. So we can import using a statement, import class name dot star, or if you want to assign it to some any other variable. For example, I have a class like let's say interest rate, and there is like home loan interest rate. So I want to assign it to my local class variable. Let's say interest rate is equal to. So we can import directly like class name dot variable name.
Okay. So I think you got confused there. You can use static import.
Yes, if you want to import all the variables, then we can mention directly class name dot star at import statement only. And if you want a specific variable, then we can mention specific variable as well in import statement.
Okay. Okay. What do you understand by serialization in Java?
Serialization is basically to write a object state to file and retrieve the same state through deserialization.
And what is the purpose of that?
So it is basically to save the state of that object at particular instance of a time.
So, have you like used it anywhere in your programming or in your career? Do you get a
No,
chance?
no, actually.
Okay, no problem. Can you tell me how garbage collection works internally in Java?
Okay. So garbage collection is basically a part of memory management of a JVM. So
Hmm.
uh, so it tries to look for the dangling object, means the references or which are not pointing to any object state. So if object is freed from the scope, then garbage collector tries to free that memory. So for example, if I'm declaring a local variable inside a method, so when that method call is finished, so garbage collector try to free that memory occupied by local variable. So it tries to keep on looking for the object which are not in use and try to free that memory. But we can't assure that garbage collector will collect or free up the memory at uh, calling a specific method.
Okay. Okay. So, can you like force empty the memory? Can you force it?
No, no, we can't force.
Okay. And do you know there is a method called GC?
Yeah,
So, what is the
GC.
purpose of that?
So we can get the memory dump of a thread from GC.
Okay. Thread dump
Thread dump.
by GC method.
I don't remember exactly. I'm confused between garbage collector and GC thread dump.
I mean,
Sorry.
do you know how you can take a thread dump in Java?
Yeah, it comes to, actually, I don't remember the syntax, but yeah, so when there is any deadlock situation, we can get the thread dump, but I don't remember the exact method name.
Okay. I mean, the command for that. The command is jselect, I think. The command is jselect, and gc is for different purpose. Gc is for is a method.
Yeah, GC is related to garbage collector, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, so that GC garbage collector dot, there is one method, so through which we can just request a garbage collector to
Yeah,
free up the
correct.
memory, but we can't force. So
Yeah.
it totally depends on the garbage collector whether to free up the memory or not.
Yeah, it will give the message to this JVM that you can garbage collect, but it won't.
Yes,
You can't force it.
yes. There
the
is no
the
guarantee
request
that
can be
object will
rejected
free.
also
Yes.
if JVM is not free.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. Coming to like so have you like worked with the microservices?
Yes.
So what is the difference between a normal service and a microservice?
Okay. So we can compare like a monolithic application as a normal service and microservice. So in a monolithic application, the application size is huge, and if you want to make any modification to a smaller part of code, we have to redeploy whole application. Also, it has other drawbacks like deployment takes too much time since the code size is large. Then a smaller change need to deploy whole application, so it is difficult to maintain as well. So in case of microservices, we can split the monolithic application into smaller services as per their functionality, and they can be developed and deployed independently. So in case there is an issue in particular service, we
I can't hear you. Yeah,
yeah.
you are telling me
Okay.
about microservices.
My
Okay.
Yes. So also in microservices, we can have different applications in different technologies as well. Like I can have a microservice in a .NET as well, in Python as well, and one in Java as well, and still they can communicate with each other. So there are multiple ways of communication between microservices. It may be asynchronous and asynchronous. For asynchronous application, we use queuing technology like RabbitMQ or Kafka. And asynchronous call, we can simply call a endpoint. Like in Java, we can use a REST template for the calling other endpoints.
Okay. So can your data microservice can share a common database?
Yes.
So is it a good idea to share the database or not?
Yeah, I mean, it's good as well as bad, but it's good because the services are part of single application, so they need to access the data of each other services.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you heard the term orchestration regarding the microservices?
Yes, I have heard about it. Even I read about it.
So
Orchestration.
what it can be? What can be the orchestration in terms of microservices?
Orchestration. Um, Actually, I read about it, but maybe I'm not able to really recall it.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
orchestration is something like is a central system to control various microservices to complete a task. So basically, just like an orchestra, we have a central person who is controlling, who's playing what type of music, what with which instrument one is playing. So one orchestra member is there just to orchestrate it. So just like that, in
Yes.
microservices we have a central system to control the calls between microservices. Okay.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so in our application also we are doing same. So there is one central application, its name is also Orchestrator. So it
uh,
has a flow for specific, I mean, there's a sequence of steps for particular flow. So whenever we request any task, so it collects the or reads the sequence of steps to be executed for particular task and it calls the processor one after another.
okay.
That is orchestrated. Yeah.
Okay, so like how you implementing disaster recovery in your project? Suppose some there is something happened and some of your microservices are stopped working. Uh, so what do you have as a backup plan?
Okay.
Or if you haven't, then you can tell me the strategy by your knowledge. If you haven't
Okay.
planned into your project.
Yes. Yeah. So we don't have such thing, but yeah. So in case any service is down, so we can first check the health check of the service. If service is not responding, then we can log into the server application server and check for the issues. And as an alternative, immediate alternative, we can run another pod of that service. Try to run that service.
Okay. So do you know what is a response entity?
Response entity, yes. So that is an container for the a response that we are returning from the endpoint. So
Okay.
it has methods like HTTP status, body.
Okay. Okay. So what is the benefit of using response entity?
So we it's a wrapper actually for the response. So we get the status of the response as well. So for example, we are returning an response inside the response entity so the consumer knows that what is the exact status or error that occurred at the server level, so it is easy to understand the response.
Okay.
In case any failure there is no body, so rather than just returning a status, we can return the status as well as message as well, so it is easy for the consumer.
Okay. Yeah. What is concurrent hash map?
Concurrent hash map is basically a hash map that allows the multiple threads to access the hash map at the same time. Just a minute, my laptop is about to shut down. I will start charging. Normal hash map is not thread safe if multiple thread ties tries to access the hash map and tries to modify the content. So concurrent modification exception is thrown. So to counter that, we have a concurrent hash map, so which allows the multiple threads to access the uh, chunk of a map at the same time.
Hmm. 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 Okay. So have you used Docker?
Docker, yes, we are using.
What is Docker?
So Docker is basically used for, creating an image and deploying to the multiple environments. So Docker has different components like it has a JVM and which are other software other required softwares which are required for the application to be running, and we can mount the image or particular build of our application and we can deploy it to different environments.
Okay. So what is Docker image?
So Docker image contains our application as well as other supporting softwares like JDK and Tomcat and other applications as well along with it.
Okay. So and there is one more thing called Docker container.
Yes, so Docker container is like, for example, OpenShift, so which can have multiple Dockers inside it.
Okay. So, what are the other deployment tools you are using in your project?
We are using this one only, Docker only. In my previous organization, we used to deploy jar directly to AWS server. But here we are using pipelines.
Okay. Okay. On Jenkins pipelines?
Yes, Jenkins pipeline.
Okay. Can you tell me why CI/CD is important? Do you know what is CI/CD?
Yes, CI/CD. So, CI/CD is like an automation tool for the building and deployment. So, in our application, what we are doing whenever any code is merged to master, it is automatically built and deployed to the environment. For other environments where we have to manually deploy the builds, we select the version of jar of different application. In case of microservices, there are different services and different version of each service. So we select those required version and build an image and deploy it to environment. So this is all automated process. So that's why the CI/CD is important.
Okay. Okay. So, suppose I have a list, okay,
Mhm.
and I want to reverse it.
Okay.
So, how do you do that?
Okay. So there are multiple couple of ways. So there is a method arraylist.reverse as well. Also, we can create a stream and using comparator we can reverse the string as well. Sort and providing a reverse comparator.
Okay.